So, Jesper Bratt, eh? What an interesting conversation that we could be having here, because when it comes to the New Jersey Devils and their newest RFA signee, Jesper Bratt, this has been one of the bigger stories that Devils fans have been clamoring about the past few weeks. Yesterday, we had ourselves a contract signed between the Devils and this player right here. 24 years old, 5'10", 185, as a left-handed guy. Initially drafted by the Devils back in 2016 in the second round, he's a player that actually had himself a really interesting contract negotiation process because, as an RFA, we eventually saw ourselves a scenario where the Devils and Bratt would be going to arbitration, but with yesterday's contract signing, the arbitration itself was avoided, and now we have ourselves a contract. $5.45 million a season for 1 year. Now, a lot of Devils fans heading into this offseason were saying, hey, this is a really good player that we have here. Look at what he did in 21-22. We've got to lock this guy down long term. And it's kind of interesting seeing how everything fell the way it did because, how do I say this? Okay, so the curve of how Jesper Bratt's career has gone so far was like exponential growth to the power of 100 because this guy started off, as we said, as a second-round pick in 2016. He played in the Allsvenskan the next season, was half a point a game there. Not great, but he's still playing in a pro men's league. He's still doing what it is that he's doing, and 22 points in 46 games played as an 18-year-old is not bad. The next season, though, after playing in the Allsvenskan, he suited up for the Devils and got 35 points in 74 games played. Now, that's a really good stat line for a guy that just jumped over from being half a point a game in the Allsvenskan. That's not even the SHL. That's the second-tier Swedish Pro Men's League. And so, going from Tier 2 Sweden to mainstay NHL, getting 35 points in the process as a 19-year-old, not bad. The year after, he had the same amount of points, but in 20 fewer games. So as a 20-year-old guy, Jesper Bratt was already showing off that, hey, this guy could actually produce, he can actually compete, he is good. The year after that, he took a tumble. Point per game number went down, fewer points and way more games. Had 16 goals, though, so it was really nice to see him produce a lot more goals directly on the score sheet than prior years. And then in 2020-2021, he had 30 points in 46 games, 7 goals on the year, so he regressed in goal production once again. And a lot of people would say, yeah, I mean, look, he's scoring at a 50-ish, 57-ish point pace, not bad in the slightest. We'll just see what he does in a full season in 21-22, and boy, oh boy, is that exactly what we saw this previous season. Jesper Bratt for the New Jersey Devils, in 76 games played, had 26 goals and 47 assists for 73 points on the year. This was a really good player who showed up just in time for the last year of the contract that he was signed to. And a lot of Devils fans were saying, man, this guy absolutely blew up. He was great offensively. He was so slippery. He facilitated so much play. Like, it's insane just trying to highlight what makes Jesper Bratt so good. We're going to try to articulate that as this video goes on, but he was such a good player that the Devils need to sign this guy to a long-term deal ASAP. And that's not what happened, because the RFA negotiations did not get to a point where they agreed on a contract right away. Some people were saying, hey, maybe it's because Bratt might want a little bit more money. Maybe if the Devils go long-term, he would really need to get the bag in order for him to say yes to a deal. I mean, Jack Hughes just got a huge contract extension as well in the $8 million range, so if Bratt feels like he's going to be at the same caliber, because, I mean, he produced the same level of points as Jack Hughes did, so there you go. There could be some complications here. And eventually, after going to arbitration, both parties avoided the arbitration in general by signing that one-year deal, and a lot of people went out there and said right away, oh my goodness, does this mean that Jesper Bratt does not want to stay here in New Jersey because he's going to have to go through this entire RFA negotiation process again next year? Now, he will be an RFA next year when he does need to re-sign again, which means that the Devils will have his rights and will probably see a similar contract negotiation process a year from now. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Devils did re-sign the guy. Here's the JFresh report on what Jesper Bratt is. He's a speedy winger who is one of the best in the league this year at creating scoring chances, ranked among the top forwards in shot assists, high danger passes, chances, and rush offense in 2021-2022. You could see his wins above replacement rank in 2020-2021 last season when he only had 30 points in 46 games played. The guy was at a near 50%, actually below 50%, I might even say 40% wins above replacement metric. This season, though, all the way up there at 92. So he really did show off a lot better this season than he did the previous year. But right away, some people might be kind of worried, okay, this guy was really good, why did he only sign for 1 year? There are a few arguments going back and forth that are highlighting what makes this a good deal or a bad deal, but I really wanted to focus on this post made on the Devils subreddit by Baraval, that's what it is. The 1 year deal isn't an indication that we are losing Bratt, and I really like the summary that this person provides on Reddit. People are freaking out about the 1 year deal and taking it as a sign that Bratt wants out, but I really don't think that's the case, as Bratt has a ton of money reason to delay by 1 year. There are differences between negotiating next year and this year. Firstly, he will have a legit top 6 winger on his opposite side, leading to more production. Talking about Ondrej Palat. Secondly, he will be on a much better power play unit this year, both from a coaching perspective and not having Jack and Dougie missing chunks of the season, hopefully leading to more production. Okay, knock on wood, they're actually going to play the season and not miss out on significant time. Thirdly, he has the option to walk to UFA status, which will put him in a much better negotiating position. We don't have to worry about this, though, since we have the cap to pay what he's asking. Fourth, the cap will increase, and we shed a lot of cap and contracts and dead cap as well. And fifth, he will be negotiating off of 2 great seasons and not just 1. Now, I like what this is saying here, because it's pretty much going over how Jesper Bratt negotiating in this season's RFA period was only really going off of one really amazing slippery season that he had in 21-22 as his bargaining power. Hey, look at me, I did this, I had 70 points in 70 games, pay me now. If he waits a year, he plays a little bit better, he's a little bit older, he's a little bit stronger, a little bit more finesse, and he's playing with a team that is probably going to be better because you're going to have more time of Hughes and Dougie, you're going to have Ondrej Palat in there, you might even have Simon Nemec on the back end too, who really knows. This is a team that next year has a lot more to gain and has a lot more to give Jesper Bratt than what he had last year. If he goes out there and produces 70, 80 points again next season, then all of a sudden, he's got an opportunity to, in the next contract negotiation process, say, hey, I didn't just produce 70 points in 70 games in 21-22, I produced 140 points in 140 games for 2 seasons combined, and that was really good the previous year. He's got the opportunity to get more money and actually help himself out because this is somewhat of a short-term prove-it deal that says, hey, I know the circumstances of this team, I know we're going to be better, we're probably going to have more time with these better players like Jack Hughes, and I want to capitalize on that. This is the ending response from Baraval. There are only 2 real reasons why he would sign long-term right now, from what I could see. 1, he's afraid he's going to regress, or 2, he wants to be team-friendly. I don't see any reason why he should fear the former. In terms of the latter, just because he doesn't want to be overly team-friendly does not mean he wants to leave the team. We aren't exactly cap-strapped either, so there isn't a reason he needs to be overtly team-friendly. Too long didn't read, Bratt had a ton of reason to sign a bridge deal, and I wouldn't take the 1 year deal as any indication of him wanting off the team. I think the reasons are purely financial, which we don't need to worry about since we have the money to pay him. Here is what Ghost of Cozy says on the comment section here. It's honestly a smart deal for all parties. Bratt has a decent prove-it contract to show that last season wasn't a contract year fluke, and the team has a year to see that he is the top-line winger we all believe him to be. Not to mention, after next season, Corey and Korchinski's buyouts are coming off the books, which should be another $2.3 million in cap space to play with, so it gives the team some flexibility in structuring his deal. So, all in all, this is a good move. You're keeping Jesper Bratt, a guy that is a very talented, very legit hockey player, and you're still going to have the contract negotiation rights with him in his contract because next year he'll still be an RFA. He has an opportunity to prove himself, and if he does prove himself, you can just give him all the extra money that you have anyway because you had the money to pay him. A lot of Devils fans were saying this entire offseason, hey, whatever it is that Bratt wants, you just give it to him. Give him whatever he wants because he's that good. But next season, he might actually have himself a reason to demand as much money as he could because he might actually be better. So, talk in the comments all your thoughts about Jesper Bratt and the contract negotiation process that we had seen. The contract that he did sign with the Devils, 1 year, 5.45 AAV. I hope you enjoyed this video, Juraj, and bye.